St. John's is unique.
This program with the great books.
I haven't seen a curriculum like this anywhere else. I've been in school my whole life and I had never seen anything like this. The program was what initially caught my eye.
Well, the first thing to notice is that it is a program.
A very radical program which allows us to give people an opportunity to think things for themselves.
The vehicle to do that is the books.
The great books.
Plato's Republic.
The Iliad.
Dante.
Descartes.
It's the books themselves. It's not textbooks.
We all need to learn from all of the books.
And we all take the same classes.
All the classes are required.
That all students are required to take the same classes is almost unheard of.
All our classes are small. They're all by discussion.
St. John's is not affiliated with any particular religious denomination.
There are 4 different kinds of classes here.
Mathematics, which we do for all 4 years.
3 years of lab in the freshman, junior, and senior year. Lab turns into music tutorial in the sophomore year.
2 years of ancient Greek, 2 years of French.
And every year you have seminar.
Your seminar class is basically the focal point of this education.
In seminar, we primarily read history, literature, and philosophy.
The program is basically broken up chronologically, and it all centers around the chronology of the seminar.
So in freshman year, we begin by reading the ancients, Plato and Aristotle in seminar, Euclid and Ptolemy in mathematics, and we move up chronologically.
The Bible.
St. Augustine's Confessions.
St. Thomas Aquinas.
Galileo.
Paradise Lost by John Milton.
Copernicus, Kepler.
Newton's Principia.
Don Quixote.
Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, de Tocqueville.
The Origin of Species.
By senior year, people are reading Einstein in math class.
War and Peace.
Dostoevsky.
Faulkner.
The U.S. Constitution.
The Souls of Black Folk by W.B. Du Bois.
Marx.
James Joyce.
Soren Kierkegaard's Fear and Trembling.
The Federalist Papers.
Virginia Woolf.
Tonight, all of the juniors are reading part of Milton, and all the sophomores are reading a certain part of the Bible.
The wonderful thing about that shared curriculum is that we can sit down with anyone in the dining hall or on the quad. We could have a discussion because we had both read it, which was really wonderful.
You go to a normal college and you can't even talk to your roommate about the things you're doing because you're off in different areas.
You have a sense that everyone's in it together.
The students are connected to one another across the years, and they're connected to different thinkers in a more synthetic way.
You'll be in a lab class talking about some kind of science, and suddenly Plato comes into the conversation, and it's irrelevant.
It's not like you have seminar and language and math.
Everything follows.
There's a sense that you're getting at some fundamental reality through everything that you read.
And as you go through the years, you learn that it all becomes one class.
Things that you thought you'd never be interested in, you find interesting. It's the same with like physics and biology. In high school, I never liked that. And when you get here, it's enjoyable.
There should be no realm of human endeavor that you feel yourself excluded from.
Nobody gets to hide out. Nobody gets to not do math, for example.
I went into my first Euclid class and I was terrified, and I didn't think I would be able to do any math, and I could.
You begin to be liberated from your own fear at doing that kind of work for yourself, without being able to depend on an expert at the head of the table or at the board or at the lectern.
All of the tutors here are required to teach the entire program. Sometimes they're forced to learn along with us.
You may have a teacher whose specialty is ancient Greek, and he may find himself in a French class. For a while, he's going to be down in the trenches with the students, learning with them.
The desire here is for students to see faculty members engaging in the same activity that the students are engaged in, so that they can see what a model learner is like.
They don't come from a superior point of view, like they know it all.
One really nice thing we do in the classroom here, we address one another formally. So, as the students call me, Ms. Greer.
I'm addressed as Miss Hamilton.
Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Janikas.
And because we're all addressed formally in all of our classes, it doesn't feel like they're talking down to us, nor are we talking up to them.
We're more on equal playing fields, like we're all in this together to learn together.
At the end of a class, half of the class will walk out talking, the other half will huddle around the tutor and say, "Now, but what about this? And what do you think about this?"
I spend countless hours meeting with my students outside of the classroom.
My wife says more time with students than I do with her.
Compared to other schools, I think the amount of time a student has with the faculty here is sort of unbelievable.
It's shocking to learn that tutors have no office hours.
We're always available.
We keep it informal for the sake of having the maximum accessibility.
You really get to know your students.
I met with my freshman language tutor once a week for the entire year so that I could work on writing papers.
At St. John's, instead of taking midterms or finals, we write papers.
There's a lot of writing because writing is an important skill, and it's a way we show that we have a personal relationship to the books we're reading.
I mean, there's absolutely zero emphasis placed on grades.
You're not looking for a letter or a number. You're looking for what your tutors think of you, and then you learn how to evaluate your own work, which is better than any grade.
The object here is for students to test their own views against their own reason and against their classmates, and to turn the classroom over to the students.
Our primary function is to ask questions.
A good class, I'll find myself silent for the first 20 or 30 minutes before I need to say something to help focus the conversation.
We're not there to give an interpretation as much as to elicit the ideas that the students have.
When somebody says, well, look, this is the main thing that Plato is up to, well, he might be telling you some very interesting stuff, but insofar as he just handed it to you, you're not going to value it very much. It didn't become your own.
As opposed to having one professor up at the front of the room, we have 15 voices around the table that are each giving and taking and sharing ideas.
These books are so old, they're so strange, they're so mysterious. By myself, I could never understand them the way that I do after I've been with 18 other people.
I'm thinking about it as a musician. It's as if you're practicing at home or reading the score. And when you sit down in the class with other people, it's as if the music comes to life.
First our questions, our perplexities, and then someone will say, but maybe it means this.
Something starts to happen, a sort of motion.
Slowly you begin to build this, and it sort of takes place in the middle of the table.
It's everyone gets together and contributes themselves to this growing mass in the middle.
It's changing and unfolding. It comes to life and it's magical to me.
I come out of my classrooms feeling so energized and so inspired and, you know, almost like walking on air.
It always seems like immediately when you leave class, that's when you understand everything that's been talked about in the classroom, and that's when you really get excited and need to seek out your friends and talk more about what it was that you saw in the class.
You go to the coffee shop or you hang out with someone in the early hours of the morning and you're still talking about virtue and politics and government.
Because everybody here is doing the same program, we're all part of this one great big conversation.
You never stop talking about ideas, and that's the practice that you do here.
Your sense of community is grounded in a commitment to learning, not just for oneself, but together. And so I'd characterize this as a community of learning.
A community of learning.
A community of learning.
If we have an all-required curriculum, it doesn't sound like a very democratic way of proceeding. We have by far the most democratic classroom in the United States.
I think most of us really realize what a privilege it is to do what we're doing, and that love and dedication really binds us together as a community, for sure.